Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Redskins Talk TV. This is your host, Dre. I'm at work. Actually at lunch right now. Since I live here in South Texas, they didn't give me the business when I walked in, and I guess because as Cowboy fans, they didn't have jack shit to say. For the most part, when you're 4-12, if you're a Cowboy fan, what can you say? When you're hollering up from the bottom of the well, and all you hear is a faint echo of how Cowboys fans are saying that the Redskins suck. That lets you know where your proper place is. Deep in the well. Way down at the bottom. But enough about the punk-ass Cowboys. Yesterday, it was upsetting to see that we couldn't follow through with a win, especially because when you're looking at the postseason games for this weekend, not a single home team won. And we were hoping that we would break that and shock people. Now, I knew that playing against Green Bay, despite their record, because they were 10-6 and they weren't really rising high in the NFC North, when you're looking at also the Vikings, but Aaron Rodgers is still capable of pulling up points. My main thing when going into this game was that if we cannot apply pressure to make Aaron Rodgers make mistakes, it's not going to go well. And at first we were doing pretty well, had them backed up. Preston Smith, I knew it was coming from him. I said, come on, number 94, and sure enough, he got that safety. So that got a lot of excitement with the burgundy and gold. And then Kirk Cousins, he scored, and we were looking pretty good, and I was very happy. From there, once we got the touchdown and Hopkins missed the extra point, I really wasn't too worried about that, although that was his third missed extra point of the season, so he's got to get that taken care of. But going into the second half, just like many times earlier in the season where we had a lead, we weren't able to make proper adjustments. And Green Bay came out and they started to do what Green Bay does, work down the field and score touchdowns. And there was nothing that we could do to stop. Kirk Cousins had a pretty decent game, only had one turnover from when Morgan Moses was beat, and he was sacked and stripped, and Green Bay recovered. But overall, I'm not going to sit here on this video, just like I haven't done in any other video, and diss Kirk Cousins. Yes, I'm a huge RG3 fan, but with him basically a foregone conclusion and no longer going to be with the team, it's about building upon number 8 and giving him the support, just like I have done the entire season. But I think he had a decent game towards the end when we were in crunch time and trying to force things to happen. That's where you saw a lot of mistakes. But again, I'm not going to fault him, because had we shored things up with our defense, we wouldn't have been in this situation. At the same time, some of our suspect play calling hurt us as well. I'm still not a fan of the screenplay. It works against poorly coached defensive teams like the Saints, but it seemed like the defense came alive for Green Bay yesterday, where no one thought that they would do well. And even Rodney Harrison picked us, and I think that's what jinxed us, because Rodney Harris, he's been the biggest Redskins hater the entire season. So when he picked us, I think that spelled our doom. But I'm not all about conspiracy, so y'all didn't hear that from me. But it was definitely disappointing to lose this game in the manner that we did. The score was not indicative of what we can do. I know next season we'll be able to build upon that. There will be a bit more cohesion with the offensive line if we can keep that core unit together. For our running game, which we didn't have too much of, I think that hurt us as well, because a lot of teams have been able to run on the Green Bay Packers. But for some reason, when we get to some of these teams with poor run defenses, all of a sudden these opponents, they look like number one defenders against the run. So it's about scheme. Maybe we just need the right people in place. I'm still an Alfred Morris fan, but the way they've been playing him this season, I highly doubt that he's going to be here next season as well. So from there, it's probably going to be the Matt Jones show. If he can shore things up with his ball handling and not fumbling, then I'm all on board, but he's going to have to work on that. Really, he is. We still got Jordan Reed, Pierre Garçon, Deshaun Jackson. He left some points on there because he didn't extend out. That hurt. that definitely hurt. But overall, as an offensive unit, we did pretty good. The main thing is going into the second half, Joe Barry seldom blitzed, and Aaron Rodgers had plenty of time in the pocket. It's easy to say that Kerrigan was getting held this time or that time, but there was no upfront middle pressure from the nose tackles. And that doesn't, when that happens, the quarterback is always going to be comfortable. It doesn't make him move side to side, and the pressure coming from the outside just has Aaron Rodgers stepping up, and that's what was happening. Aaron Rodgers really didn't have to scramble, maybe once or twice, but as a core unit for defense, we just could not get it done. And seeing Will Blackman, just like most games, I've been very critical of him, and for good reason, because it seems like whenever there's a deep pass, he's always the one corner that's got his man beating him. And he was responsible for Green Bay's first touchdown, and later in the game, he was responsible for the man who got the extra point. He has done some good, but we need more discipline from our corners. Bashad Breeland, he played a decent game, but overall, I know one drive where the Green Bay Packers almost predominantly ran and marched down the field, missed tackles, overcommitting, not filling the gaps, that killed us. And for them to run and consume that much time and still be allowed to score, that lets you know that we have a lot of work to do as a defensive unit, especially against the run. I expect a lot more, but then again, any fan does. And as you notice, I'm trying not to use profanity because I want to be able to post this on a lot of the communities that I go to. And I'm just trying to be conscious, but at the same time, I've got a lot of internal turmoil because I'm highly pissed off. I want to cuss, but I'm going to keep it in check for this video. Overall, because really no one gave us the opportunity to win the NFC East or win more than 7 games. We outdid the expectation, made it to the postseason, and I'm really happy about that. One of my biggest disappointments that I did notice is that a lot of the people that for previous weeks were supporting Kirk Cousins, they were now jumping off the bandwagon saying that he's garbage, he's not the franchise quarterback, this and that. Those kind of fans piss me off. They did the same thing with RG3 when he wasn't winning. Winning and losing, it's a part of football. And I'm not going to sit here and compare us to the Patriots. We are the Washington Redskins, so we have to play better football. As an organization, understanding, also as a fan base, understanding that Kirk Cousins can only do so much from the offensive side. Receivers still have to be able to stretch out and get the ball across the goal line, so that's not his fault. It's up to the defense to stop the opponent from marching down the field. That's not Kirk Cousins' fault. And I made the same argument with RG3. There's only so much the quarterback can do. No, Kirk Cousins is not going to get up on the podium during the presser and talk about how there's only so much he can do and he's got the team around him. That's for Jay Gruden to throw the team under the bus just like he did earlier this season, as opposed to what he did with RG3 last season. So I'm liking what I see for Kirk Cousins. I think as a second-year full-time starter, he's going to get more under his belt. He's going to do well. He's going to be more comfortable. And again, as long as there's cohesion with the offensive unit, as long as we can establish a strong run game, we're going to be putting up some points. We got some playmakers in the skill positions that we need, but we also need defenders who can stop the run, who can get pressure up the middle, that can make the quarterback uncomfortable. And then, of course, we need better decision makers for our returners on special teams, because I'm sick and tired of Rashad Ross taking the ball and out of the end zone and only getting to the 10-yard line. Kneel it. Just take a knee. Let us get to the 20 and see what we can do to work down there. Overall, I'm happy that we made it this far. Not happy that we're not making it to the next step. But this is a season in which we can hold our heads up high and say that we actually accomplished something that many didn't think we could do. Anyway, if you like this video, hope that you like, subscribe, and share. It's my Redskins family. Hail to the Redskins.